Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Game News Roundup. This is being recorded live on Twitch, twitch.tv/TrunksWD on September 26th. And as always, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like it, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. You know how the YouTube algorithm works. You know, the more likes, the more comments, the longer the watch time, the better. More likely to get picked up by the algorithm. But anyways, we're going to start with the latest VGChartz estimates. For the week ending September 17th, 2022, the Switch continues to sell like crazy. Last week, the estimates were delayed, but the Switch had sold well over 400,000 in one single week. Thank you, Splatoon, absolutely going crazy. And then a couple weeks before that was the Splatoon 3 Switch OLED model. And our estimates have it about 350,000 sold for the week ending September 17th. PS5, about 221,000, 178,000 for the Series X and S. And PS4 and Xbox One, their sales continue to dwindle. But breaking down, we've got North America, US, and Canada. Still fairly close between the three. Almost 100,000 for the Switch, almost 95,000 for the PS5, and almost 85,000 for the Series X and S. In Europe, PS5 is actually ahead of the Switch. Almost 77,000 versus 71,000. The Series X and S in third with 52,000. Now, in Japan, Switch continues to absolutely dominate. It's actually having its best week for this equivalent week for previous years by far. 127,000 sold compared to 14,000 for the Series X and S and 11,000 for the PS5. So for 1 week in Japan, the Xbox outsold the PS5. Of course, a lot of this comes down to how much stock is available. Although, it is hard to say because there's definitely a little bit less stock in Europe for the PS5 this week. But also, the price of the PS5 did just go up, so it's hard to say. Also, is it people like the price went up? Maybe not. Maybe they'll wait till it goes back down. But it's so soon, it's hard to say. This holiday season obviously would be a good test to see if that's really going to affect sales. Now, the price of the PS5 only went up pretty much everywhere outside the US, whether it went up a little bit or upwards of like 10% or so. And lifetime sales, we have the Switch has surpassed 113 million sold lifetime, 23.4 million for the PS5, and just under 17 million for the Series X and S. And also, we have our sell-through. Remember, these are sell-through, not ship figures that we do. We have the PS4 has surpassed 117 million. Its last millionth goal, unless it's actually not discontinued, but Sony did not provide any updates to PS4 shipment figures in the previous quarter. And on their website, they have over 117.0 million shipped. But then if you add up all the fiscal years, it adds up to 117.1 million. So we're figuring its actual sales are somewhere between or shipment figures between 117 and 117.1 million shipped. And also, this also means that the Switch is about 4 million away from outselling the PS4 to become the fourth best-selling video game platform of all time, and then a couple million or two after that is the Game Boy, plus the Game Boy Color, because Nintendo combined the sales of the Game Boy and Game Boy Color into one. And then after that, it's a long wait before we get up to the Nintendo DS and the PS2. It's going to be a bit... this one, right? Yeah. Be a bit of a wait, because we got 154 million for the DS, and we've got roughly 158.7 million for the PS2. And as I've mentioned before, why do we have 158.7? Well, you look at Sony's website, they have over 155 million shipped. It's because for a while there, they combined PS2 and PS3 shipments together into just PlayStation home console shipments. And then at some point, they released PS3 has sold this much, or was shipped this much. And you're like, okay, well, you do that math. You figure when they combined it, and you do the differences, and it's like, okay. We came up with, like, it could be anywhere from about 158.7 million to, like, 160 million potentially actually sold for the PS2. It'd be nice if they gave the exact figures. Nintendo does give exact figures every quarter, shipment figures for their consoles and handhelds, which I guess technically the Switch is a hybrid. So, breaking down into the article, now comparing the PS5 to the same week for the PS4, and the Series X and S for the same week of the Xbox One, which will be the week ending September 19th, 2015. So same number of weeks after it launched, which seems to also line up quite well. Week ending September 17th versus week ending September 19th. PS5 sales compared to the same week for the PS4 are down by a little over 15,000 units, which it depends on stock at this point, more generally speaking. And then the Series X and S continues to track well ahead of the Xbox One by over 53,000 units. So yeah, Series X and X compared to the same week for the Xbox One is up by over 53,000 units. I don't play this to myself. I feel bad for the Xbox. I only have the number 9 spot. Well, their best selling ever was the 360. The Series X and S is currently the fastest selling Xbox generation ever, according to looking at our figures and looking at what Microsoft themselves has stated. It is currently the fastest selling Xbox generation to date. Now, mind you, yes, the 360 did get a huge boost in year, it was like 5 or 6 with the Kinect. 2 holidays, it gave a big boost to the 360. But anyways, so also looking at sales year over year, I mean, Switch had been down pretty much all year. However, because of the Switch OLED Splatoon 3 limited edition model, and with Splatoon 3 also coming out, Switch sales are up 30% year over year, looking at our estimates. PS5 is down about 16%. Mind you, earlier this year it was down by far more than this. So how much the PS5 has been down has been shrinking. Yes, the Switch will be overtaking the PS4 in well before the end of the year. No problem. It should probably get over 120 million sold lifetime before the end of the year. And Series X and S is up 34,000, almost 25% year over year. And PS4 is down 90%. Series Xbox One is down 96%. It's just what that last bit of stock is remaining is what's being sold for the PS4 and Xbox One. And week on week, Switch sales are actually down by over 79,000 because the previous week is the week Splatoon 3 launched, and it sold like absolute hotcakes. Although, who actually buys hotcakes? Why is that even a saying at this point? I have no idea, but it sold like crazy in Japan and got a decent boost in North America and Europe, but nowhere near as big as Japan. And then, yeah, so that's why sales are down 79,000. But again, it still sold almost 355,000 for the week. And PS5 sales are up a little bit, a little over 4,000, and the Series X and S is up by nearly 12,000 units. And year to date, so for 2022 year to date, we have almost 11.3 million for the Switch, 6.4 million for the PS5, and almost 5.6 million for the Series X and S. So generally, it's good sales really all around. Yes, telling people like, oh yeah, the Series X and S is in third. Yes, but it's also the fastest selling Xbox. So even if it stays in third, it should still break records for Xbox. Even if it doesn't outsell the Switch or the PS5 by the end of the generation, which I don't see it doing that. Although I'm just expecting a closer race this gen than last gen. So the gap between like the PS4 and Xbox One was like 50 million versus 117 million. This gen, I don't know, maybe 100 to 110 million for the PS5. So just a little under PS4 for PS5. Then maybe 80, 80 million, 85 million, maybe 90 million for the Series X. And again, the biggest question marks is because you're looking about the release schedule of exclusives for the Series X and S has been quite lacking this year, to say the least. But we'll see. Next year, the biggest test will be Starfield. If that gives a big boost, then all the other games coming out, that will be a good indicator of how things are going to do. And obviously, Activision Blizzard deal. If it closes, then what is Microsoft going to do with that Call of Duty? Is it going to remain on PlayStation? Although it sounds like Call of Duty will at least remain on PS5. So for the rest of this generation, just next generation seems to be that you will see what happens. But also, Call of Duty will be coming to Game Pass day one in the next, if the deal closes in the next, few years. But yeah, that is the latest VGChartz estimates for the week ending September 17th. Moving on to my monthly sales comparison articles I do. So these are through the end of August. So we've got PS5 versus the PS4. Launch aligned sales comparisons, again, through August. As you can see, the PS5 was ahead for the first month, went a little bit behind, and actually grew a lead. But last holiday, this PS5 stock was so limited, the PS4 has been growing its lead, but to a little over 3 million. However, in the last couple months, the lead has shrunk by about 500,000. It's down to about 2.5 million in favor of the PS4. So we'll see if Sony's able to get the stock up. That gap between the PS5 and PS4 should hopefully continue to shrink as time goes on. And then we've got Xbox Series X and S versus the Xbox One. Sales comparison through August. So this line here is the difference in sales between the two. And the Series X and S is about 3 million ahead of the Xbox One after 22 months, or August 2022, versus August 2015 for the Xbox One. So we've got about 16.5 million for the Series X and S versus 13.5 million for the Xbox One. Again, based on our estimates, which again, as more data becomes available, adjustments do occur with our estimates. So, let's see. Next comparison is gen over gen, excluding Nintendo. So we've got combined sales of the PS5 and the Series X and S versus the combined sales of the PS4 and Xbox One. As you can see, the current gen, PS5 and Series X and S, at one point was over 3 million ahead. And then the end of last holidays happened, and then the PS4 and Xbox One have been a bit ahead, but PS5 and Series X has grown its lead again to about 450,000. So you look at this graph here, basically neck and neck between the two. The blue is PS5 and Series X and S, and the orange is PS4 and Xbox One. But of course, you see this red is the PS3 and the 360, which was behind the PS4 and Xbox One. However, they have much longer legs and actually has ended up being ahead. Not by much, you know. I forget the exact figure. It's like 4 or 5 million ahead. It wasn't that much, but ended up being just a little bit ahead. Mainly come down to, like, you know, Sony cutting the legs off of the PS4 a little quickly, I guess you could say, compared to previous PlayStations. And also, the 360 was on the market for 8 years before the Xbox One came out, while the Xbox One was on the market for 7 years, and also the Xbox One, compared to the 360, sold a good 35 billion less. And now, this is Switch versus PS4 sales comparison. Again, through August, so the latest estimates I just shown through the weekend in September 17th is another 3 weeks of sales. 2 weeks of sales? 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to say it's 3 weeks of sales beyond this. So at the end of August, you can see the Switch, and you got the PS4 here. Switch's lead has grown. It's about 16 million ahead. And it's about 5 million, say at that point, it's 3 weeks previous, about 5 million ahead, behind the PS4. But obviously, as I showed just a minute ago, it's about 4 million away. With the sales being as crazy as they are, it's a couple months away, potentially. Well, October, November. Yeah, sometime late November, early December. It should have no problem passing it. I could be wrong. Depends how sales are over this holiday. You never know. Depends on deals that Nintendo does. They've basically done the exact same deal every holiday, where it's a Switch bundled with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's what they've been doing most holidays, at no additional cost. So yeah, that is it for the monthly sales comparison based on our estimates. Other sales stuff, NPD figures, which does U.S. Sales charts. PS5 was the best-selling console in the U.S. in August. Switch was second. Series X and S was third. Although, in terms of revenue, Series X and S actually was higher than the Switch. But obviously, you figure the average selling price of a console for the Xbox is higher than the Switch. And also, PS5 and Series X sales in August saw double-digit percentage growth when compared to August 2022, which was also the second straight month of seeing such growth for the two. And year-to-date, Switch has sold the most units, while PS5 is number 1 in terms of revenue, and I'm fairly certain Series X and S is actually number 2 in units, and PS5 is number 3 in units sold. And then looking at the best-selling games in August in the U.S., Madden, number 1. The Saints Row reboot in second. Marvel's Spider-Man shot straight up into third because of the PC release. Went from 84th to third. People wondering why is Sony releasing their games on PC? Yeah, that is why. And then you got Elden Ring, Multiverses, Mario Kart 8. Mind you, the ones with the asterisks there, it does not include digital sales. Nintendo doesn't share their digital sales figures. Mario Kart 8 is in 6th. Minecraft in 7th. Yes, Minecraft's still there. Because of course it is. Lego in 8th. MLB The Show in 9th. Xenoblade Chronicles in 10th. But yeah, that is U.S. figures for August. And then Europe sales in August, according to GSD data, which was reported by Games Industry. Grand Theft Auto 5 was the best-selling game in August because, of course, it was. Because, I mean, why not? Why would Grand Theft Auto 5 be the best-selling game 9 years after it initially released? I mean, why not? And then Saints Row debuted in third, the reboot. FIFA in third. Sorry, Saints Row debuted in second. FIFA's in third. F1 is in fourth. Gran Turismo 7's in fifth. Spider-Man Remastered in sixth. Nintendo Switch Sports in seventh. Mario Kart in eighth. Horizon Forbidden West in ninth. Lego Star Wars in 10th. And yeah, Saints Row reboot sales were just behind GTA 5. And the PC version of Marvel's Spider-Man helped push the game. Yeah, helped push the game up to 6th place. So yeah, GTA 5 was the best-selling digital game. However, if you look at just retail sales, Nintendo Switch Sports was actually number 1. And this is just retail, since Nintendo doesn't share digital figures. There were 7.7 million games sold in August across Europe, and 310,000 video game consoles sold across Europe. However, should be noted that the console sales excludes the UK and Germany, the two biggest markets in Europe, which we do. Games Industry does report on monthly UK sales as well. So it's basically Germany's like probably the biggest market with not a lot of data that we collect. And then moving on to other sales quickly, Gearbox founder and CEO Randy Pitchford has announced Tiny Tina's Wonderlands has shattered expectations. Gearbox Software achieved a major victory this past year at the launch of a new franchise, Tiny Tina's. I mean, it's kind of a new franchise, but not really. It's like a side game. It's Borderlands. Anyways, Wonderlands shattered all of our target expectations, both critically and commercially, and I'm thrilled to report that in addition to great financial rewards from this victory that will be coming our way in the coming quarter, we have established a firm beachhead. We now clearly have a new franchise in our hands with future expectations already under development at Gearbox. Future experiences, which means either, I don't know if that means DLC, or Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2. I have no idea. But the game is available on PS5, Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And it came out March 25th, 2022. Another news from today. Entertainment Software Association has announced E3 is returning next year in 2023. It's going to run from June 6th, 13th to the 16th at the Los Angeles Convention Center, which I'm pretty sure is where it normally is. And I think that's basically I'm trying to think, is that across the street from Disneyland? But I think that's the Anaheim Convention Center across the street from Disneyland. But yeah, in LA. But partnered digital events and showcases will start earlier on June 11th. So any showcases from, say, Microsoft, or say if Sony or Nintendo does any showcases, or EA, etc., they will potentially be starting on June 11th, or 12th, maybe even the 13th or 14th, I don't know. So yeah, it is also being operated by ReedPop this year, who runs PAX, Near Comic-Con, and more. So yeah, E3 2023 will have separated industry and consumer days. So business days will take place on June 13th to the 15th and will be exclusive to registered industry personnel. And gamer days, which is open to the public, will take place on June 15th and 16th. However, it will be in a separate hall from the industry area. And it will give consumers hands-on previews of upcoming games and more. So they're separating out where I guess you think the game journalists and developers and whatnot area versus where the public area will be. We'll see how that works out. I have no idea, but we will find out. So yeah, E3 officially actually returning. It was canceled this year, and last year was like online only, and it just felt like a complete waste of time being digital only. Like, well, what's the point when all these companies could still hold their digital event anyway, whether it's part of E3 or not? Which is what a lot of them decided to do this year, despite there being no E3. But the biggest thing is, be able to go in person, check out games. Maybe you get to see some behind-the-scenes stuff. Like, there are certain things that are shown behind closed doors. So, yeah, E3 is coming back. And then we have PSVR2 stuff. Excuse me there. The PlayStation head of Independent Developer Initiative, Shuhei Yoshida. I do apologize. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name. I spoke during Games Industry Live 2022 about PlayStation VR2. So, his quote directly, there are big games like Horizon, Call of the Mountain, and Resident Evil Village, and yes, they're amazing. But it is the indies, in my mind, that really take the risk because they want to make games on VR. And he says, indies have been waiting for this next VR boom. So yeah, big VR boom coming? Maybe? But yeah, he did add the VR market is still small and is still growing thanks to Meta Quest 2 which has been selling generally really well, and then they just shot the price up like $100 of the Meta Quest 2. But yeah, they're saying some more people are coming to try VR for the first time, but still compared to console gaming, it is a subset and a growing market, yes. And PSVR 2, for those that don't know, it comes out in early 2023. We don't have a exact release date, and we don't know the price, although I'm assuming $400 or $500 wouldn't surprise me looking at the specs of it, but it might be $300. I'm going to go somewhere in the middle and just say it'll be launched for $399 in sometime early next year. Don't ask me when, sometime early next year. So yeah, PSVR 2, because it's got a lot more specs behind it than the PSVR 1 did. And I think I talked about this last week, but PSVR 2 is not backwards compatible with PSVR 1 because there's a lot of differences. The controller is very different. Although I'm sure if developers want to port their games over and fix things up, make sure it runs well, I'm sure that they're more than welcome to do that. And also announced, will be last week at this point, but Logitech has announced the G Cloud Handheld. It is a cloud gaming handheld with support for xCloud Words are hard. Words are hard. With Xbox Cloud Gaming and NVIDIA GeForce supported. It comes out October 17th in the US and Canada for $350. However, at least when I wrote this, pre-orders include a discount for $299.99, $300. And it will launch later in other regions. But yeah, it'll also have support for Xbox Cloud Gaming, NVIDIA GeForce Now, and Steam Link. It also has support for Google Play services, which also gives you access to Google Stadia, Amazon Luna, and more. So yeah, it is a cloud gaming device. Although, I don't know, handheld and cloud gaming, but the thing is you need fast enough internet to do cloud gaming, which means you probably have, I don't know. Yeah. Oh well. It's just like how to explain. Like you're not gonna do it over you're not gonna do it over your cell phone data, are you? You need at least fast enough Wi-Fi to make it work. But it is interesting, and the controller layout is pretty much identical to an Xbox controller. Even the A, B, X, Y are the same spots. And it does have 2 shoulder buttons and 2 triggers below it. So yeah, if anyone's interested, again, October 17th, US, Canada, $300 currently, I think. Right? Let me just double check. Is it? Yeah, $299. It's still available for pre-order. Right. Again, every week there seems to be something going on with the Activision Blizzard deal, but Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, speaking with Bloomberg, discussing the Activision Blizzard acquisition, said he's very confident the deal will be approved, even as the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK will be doing a more in-depth investigation into the deal. So his direct quote, "Of course, any acquisition of this size, I really can't. The words today, man, words are hard. Seriously, I'm reading it, I still can't say it right. Any acquisition of this size will go through scrutiny, but we feel very, very confident that will come out." And he added that Microsoft is the 4th or biggest competitor in the video game industry, and Sony, as the number 1 player, has made several recent acquisitions. So if this is about competition, let us have competition, says Satya Nadella, wanting basically, I guess, to have Xbox as big as PlayStation revenue-wise. Although I'm pretty sure, it says Sony's the number 1 player. I think he's referring more to the console market, because I'm fairly certain Tencent is bigger revenue-wise than it's Sony. And I know Microsoft has previously stated the revenue added with Activision Blizzard will make them in 3rd, right behind Sony. But we'll see how things play out in the coming months. Years, I guess, is my better way to put it. And And he also added he believes that Microsoft will be able to cope with a weaker economy and rising inflation, at the same time help its customers endure. The constraints are real. Inflation is definitely all around us, says Satya Nadella. I always go back to the point that in an uncertain time, in an inflationary time, software is a deflationary force. Microsoft will work on ensuring that our customers are able to do more with less. So in terms of outlook, I'm optimistic about Microsoft's value proposition. I'm seriously, words today. Optimistic about our share, but we are not immune from anything that is macroeconomic headwind. But they previously stated, along with Nintendo, they don't plan to raise the price of the Series X and S, and again, Nintendo has no plans to raise the price of the Switch. While Sony did raise the price of the PS5 recently, outside the U.S. And now EA chiming in with the whole Activision Blizzard thing. They're not against it. They're perfectly fine with it. They basically said Call of Duty Xbox exclusivity being uncertain says it is a tremendous opportunity for Battlefield. And as I said before I pressed recording, yes, it is a big opportunity for Battlefield. If you can make a Battlefield game that is good and not a broken mess, like Battlefield, like the last one. Is it 2042 is the name of it? I lose track of the names of the Battlefield games. But yeah, EA CEO Andrew Wilson. In a world where there may be questions over the future of Call of Duty, and what platforms that might be on or might not be on, being platform agnostic and completely cross-platform with Battlefield, I think is a tremendous opportunity. Since, saying, do we know if Call of Duty is going to become Xbox PC only and basically skip PlayStation? Or is it going to still be on PlayStation in coming years down the road? We don't know. But he did admit, I don't think we delivered in the last two iterations of that in the way that we should have. Referring to Battlefield, the last two games not being up to par, up to people's expectations. There's a lot of work we've got to do there, but at its very core, it's extraordinary IP. And we've seen in the world of entertainment is great IP is resilient. And we've seen movies, not live up to expectations of franchises. And he specifically says Star Wars might be one of those franchises. And then you can see what happens when you get the right creative team involved, how they can completely reinvent and grow a franchise. I think he's referring to the fact that the sequel trilogy is not well loved by the Star Wars fan base, while most people of Star Wars fan base seem to really love and really enjoy Mandalorian or the Obi-Wan series. So, we will see. Again, a game that's good, if they're able to turn things around, next Battlefield should do good. If they actually give the developers, DICE, enough time to develop the game. The last Call of Duty really needed another year of development, at least. But yeah. Coming out today, Last of Us teaser trailer. Dropped today. Features nearly 90 seconds of footage. And the series, again, is coming out on HBO sometime next year. So this is the first trailer. Let me...
Save who you can save. Oh, please understand.
So yeah, that is the Last of Us HBO series teaser. We can take a quick... There was obviously, you got Pedro Pascal. It's Joel. Bella Ramsey, I think that's her name. Bella Ramsey as Ellie. So you go back just... If you go back just a bit, you can see... That is gonna just be slightly blurry. One of the enemies. Is that a click? I forget the name of the enemies in the game. But yeah, right there. Definitely see... Is that CG? Maybe it's just hard to tell with the quality. You never know with the YouTube upload. So... It gives you a decent idea. Again, it is going to follow the story of The Last of Us Part 1, the first game. I think there's going to be some differences with it, but I'm hoping. I'm going to try to keep my expectations in check. But I'm hoping it is the best video game adaptation ever, and it is a fantastic series. I'm definitely looking forward to it. But yeah, moving on with some other gaming news. We've got Certain Affinity, which is generally known as a co-developer. They've co-developed games in other franchises like Halo and Call of Duty, done other aspects of those games. They did reveal they have over 100 developers working on a big Halo Infinite project. So yeah. The biggest thing we're doing that's public right now for more than 2 years, over 2 years, is that we've been working on Halo Infinite, doing something that they're very prescriptive about what we can say, referring to probably 343 Industries, but we're doing something unannounced. And we're doing lead development on that unannounced thing from conception and design. It's something big and new for the franchise, but I can't say any more about it. That's our single largest project of our 3 projects currently. We have close to 100 developers working on this. However, it has been rumored that Certain Affinity has been working on a Battle Royale game mode for Halo Infinite, but it's not. It's going to be a slight variant of, like, your Fortnite Battle Royale. I think it'd be closer to, like, is it Call of Duty Warzone, where it's not just, alright, let's go in, and then everyone kills each other, and last person, last team alive wins, and that's it. I think there'll be objectives you can do to get, I think, like, better weapons and whatnot. Like, I don't know, like capture flags or capture, like, bases, and then you get resources from doing that, and stuff like that. I think that's... This is all rumored. It might not even be a Battle Royale, but this is what's been long rumored. This is what they've been working on. And, you know, Halo Infinite, it needs more content. And more varied content. So... it'll be a nice change of pace to have something new added to it. Because, like, the game, as I've said, the base game of Halo Infinite is solid. There just has been a lack of new content. Keeping people to come back and play it some more. So, let's see. We've got Xbox System Software Update. It revamps the full library, making it easier to access your games and apps. New storage options, and the ability to customize your Xbox button color on the Xbox Elite Controller Series 2. So yeah, if you have an Xbox Elite controller, you can customize the color of the light of the X, but yeah, it's not much. It's not much. It's only nothing more needs to be said. There's the ability to produce over 16 million hues of light. Woo. Oh yeah, and the Elite Series White Controller Series 2 Core is now available. And yeah, in the library, the My Games and Apps full library view in the Xbox has been updated. Redesigned to streamline access to all games you have access to install and play. All games now shows all the games you own, as well as any games you have access to with your current Xbox subscriptions, including Game Pass, EA Play, and claimed games with gold. And select storage options. There are more select storage options for your games and apps, where you can install them. So if you've got a external drive, or if you have one of those expansion SSDs that you can plug into the back of your Xbox. But yeah. Let's see. YouTube content creator Jason Gastro, aka Donkey, has announced he's launching his own indie game publishing company. It is called Big Mode. And his quote, he said, "I've been on YouTube for 11 years now, and one of the core themes of my channel has always been to slam dunk soulless cash grabs into the garbage can and lift up and praise the truly inspired works of art in this medium. For years and years and years, I've always sought out the very best indie games out there and have tried to do them justice, putting millions of eyes on the games that actually deserve attention. A lot of games out there understand how to emulate the look of your favorite games, but don't deliver where it actually counts. Many of the true games out there are being drowned out in a sea of mediocrity. You need someone who can help you be seen. I want Big Mo to act as my seal of approval, which is something that I do not apply lightly. I am not looking for creative control over your games, but I do want to be involved. And once involved, make sure it is actually a good game and worthy of publishing. I'm sick of sitting on the sidelines waiting for great games to appear. Now I want to get in there and help make it happen. He wants Big Mo to offer the most developer-friendly contracts as possible and wants to bring insane value to the table. Again, this is for indie games. This is interesting. He doesn't really have experience when it comes to publishing, but I'm hoping this works well. Having more good publishers out there to find the best of the indie games out there to publish, I think that's a plus. That's a win. Let's see. A quick one here. Wolong Fallen Destiny. Will only have one difficulty, like any other Souls game, and it will not be an easy game, has been confirmed, so it won't have multiple difficulties. I'll have one difficulty, that's it, and it won't be an easy game. So if anyone was hoping for it to have more difficulties and you can have a more approachable Souls-like game, sadly, this probably won't be the game for you. And then YouTuber, Macho Nacho Productions posted a video of an in-depth look of the PS5 development kit. So we'll take a quick look. You can see right here he posted right. So you got, again, this is the dev kit for the PS5. This is what developers got before the PS5 came out, when they were, well, developing games for the PS5. It's got some, I mean, it's got completely different shape to it. So, but yeah, this is the first time I've seen a actual video. I've seen pictures of it, but I don't think I've seen anyone actually look at it. And also, his version here does not have a disk drive. He's like, look, no disk drive. So if you're curious about the dev kit, on the left side, you've got whatever these numbers mean. You got an on button and a standby button, as well as a reset button. This might be touch-sensitive buttons here. And then on the right side, you've got a USB-C port, 4 USB 3.0 ports, and what looks like a USB 2.0 port. And then a screen that gives you some information on the side there. And then on the back, 2 Ethernet ports, power port, and there was an HDMI port, and what was the other thing on the back? Another USB port was on the back. So he turned it on. Okay, that screen there, he's got stuff blurred out. I guess whoever got it from doesn't get in trouble. So when you first turn on the dev kit, you'll be able to adjust the display area, make it bigger or smaller, make sure it fits the screen you're using. And then you get into the menu here, which I'm pretty sure is different from the standard PS5 here. And then it says on the top there, this dev kit, test kit is expired. See Activision guide on DevNet. So yeah, you can't really do much with it per se, like play games on it. And then you got debug settings. So yeah, this is the PS5 dev kit. Again, if I remember correctly, I'll leave a link below to this video. If you're watching this on YouTube. And actually, if anyone's watching this right now, you want to live right now, there's a link right there in Twitch chat. And then we've got Netflix is developing an Onimusha anime based on the Capcom hack and slash action-adventure video game series of the same name. Not much is known about it, but the description from Netflix, the beginning of the Edo period, Musashi is no longer a young man. He departs with the legendary Oni gauntlet to defeat the Genma. 3D CGI characters and hand-drawn backgrounds create phenomenal visuals. Onimusha is given a new life using modern-day animation technology. So they released a few 4 images of the anime that they're doing. If anyone is curious. Again, a lot of this gaming news is going to be fairly quick. Like this one. Super Mario Brothers animated movie is going to get its teaser trailer premiered at New York Comic Con on October 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. UK time. While the movie itself is going to premiere in theaters on April 7th, 2023 and is being animated by Illumination. And as everyone has heard, Chris Pratt is voicing Mario. Charlie Day is Luigi. Anya Taylor-Joy is Princess Peach. And Jack Black is Bowser. Again, Super Mario Brothers animated movie. Teaser trailer going to premiere October 6th. So fairly soon. Splinter Cell Remake, which was announced in December of last year. We got a little bit of tiny bit of information. A job posting for a scriptwriter reveals that the story for the remake of the original Splinter Cell is going to be updated for a modern day audience. So the job description reads, we're working on a Splinter Cell remake, assembling a team with passion, drive, and respect for the trifocal goggles. This is an opportunity to be part of a treasured franchise rebuilt on Ubisoft's Snowdrop engine to deliver next-gen visuals and modernized stealth gameplay while preserving what's at the heart of the Splinter Cell experience. Using the first Splinter Cell game as our foundation, we are rewriting and updating the story for a modern-day audience. We want to keep the spirit and themes of the original game while exploring our characters and the world to make them more authentic and believable. As a scriptwriter at Ubisoft Toronto, you will join the narrative team and help create a cohesive and compelling narrative experience for a new audience of Splinter Cell fans. A few more quick things. Silent Hill. The short message has been raided in South Korea. which is potentially an unannounced Silent Hill game, which has been rumored for many years. The new Silent Hill game has been in development. We will see. Uniana is listed as the publisher, which has also published Konami games in the past in Korea, which also they had a listing of them publishing Konami's free-to-play game eFootball 2023 in Korea, South Korea. And then we've got EA and Motive. I can't remember if I talked about this last week, but EA and the developer Motive announced that they are developing an Iron Man game. It is the first of several new games in collab between Marvel and EA, so apparently there'll be other Marvel games that EA was working on, or will be working on in the future. The Iron Man game is in pre-production, and more information on it will be released at a later date, which means this is probably 3 or 4 years away from release, looking how game development is nowadays. And last quick thing, it appears Sackboy: A Big Adventure might be coming to the PC. Another PlayStation game coming to PC. The game originally came out for the PS5 and PS4 on November 12th, 2020 as a PS5 launch game. Again, a Steam DB page for the game with a title of Still PC, added an icon, which is, well, this right here is the icon that was shown, which is clearly, well, one of the key arts for the game. So it's looking like the game will be probably coming soonish to Steam. And that is really about it for the gaming news. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. And if you want to watch this live, twitch.tv/TrunksWD. So thank you all so much for watching.